This is a story about a cat. Her name is Gracie. Gracie needs a new house. Now, Gracie's not homeless, but she cannot live in the house with her owners, and the reason for that is simple. Gracie does not understand that a litter box is also useful for urination. Rather, she believes the couch is the place where that must be done. After numerous attempts of trying to break her from this terrible habit, Gracie's owners have decided to ban her to the outside. She is now an outside cat. However, to protect her from the cold, we must build her a small house, a tiny cat house, where she can sleep and even get food and water. And this movie is all about that process. That poor cat just wants to be loved, but her problem is she pees on everything in the house, so we can't have her in there. So she's been banished to the backyard. What we got to do is build her a house so that when it gets cold, she can go in it. We can keep her food in it. When it rains, she can be dry. Oh, kitty! Meow! Meow! Kitty, kitty! Kitty, kitty! She gets mad if she thinks I'm leaving. Oh, she's my little girl. To begin the kitty house project, I'm going to measure and cut studs for the framing out of these 2x2s. I do not have any plans on paper, but I do have plans in my head. And I will approach it like I would building a shed or a house. It'll be a stud-based build. The floor is going to be 2 foot by 3 foot, so I will begin by cutting all of the components to put that together. Next up, we will be assembling the floor. Now, I do have a table saw, but it's just not stout enough to handle the full weight of a full sheet of strand board, so I opted to use a skill saw. In addition to nails, I also went with good old wood glue just to add to the durability of the cat house. It's also a good idea to have a couple coats of good old protective exterior paint, and I tried to match it as closely to the color of the outside of the house simply because that's where the cat house will be. Alright, so there we have the bottom part painted, the floor, and then we're going to let it dry a little bit and get on with the walls. Gracie, along with her brothers and sisters, were rescued from the cold as kittens. Now, they were either abandoned or their mother was a feral cat. Okay, so what we want on this cat house is it to be 2 feet tall before you get to the roof, alright? That's going to include the floor and everything. I got to cut the studs to a particular length that will allow me to put a 2 foot piece of strand board on the side, so it is absolutely 2 feet. So you add those all together, what you come up with for the studs is 19 inches and 3/8. That's what we're going to cut next, is the 19 and 3/8. I think I'm going to have to do 6 of them. So we'll do 6 pieces like that. When we discovered that we had a mouse problem, I decided it was time to get an indoor cat. Thus, we found Gracie. And Gracie has lived up well to being a mouse catcher. So yeah, I decided to go with the 18 gauge air gun brad nailer for this next part. So let's get to it. Sadly, we tried and we tried and we tried to break Gracie from the habit of peeing on the couch, but nothing we tried would work, so we had to ban her to the outdoors. That doesn't mean she can't come in. She comes in regularly and eats, gets some attention, but for the most part she's hanging around outside, and so we needed to build this little house so that she could stay warm on those cold nights. And she's still Daddy's little girl. It's time to construct the roof, and this is a simple gable roof, and I will be using common rafters. There is a formula for cutting common rafters, but for this application I basically eyeballed it. As you can see, I've started cutting the rafters. Now I will cut the bird's mouth or seat cuts, where the roof will rest on the walls of the cat house. I used the first one that I cut as a template to mark and cut all the rest of them. Alright, so now we've got all the rafters and everything cut for the kitty house, and I've just kind of laid them in place to see how it looks. I need to fasten those down, and then I'm going to put insulation inside the walls, roll that in there, so that Gracie can be nice and warm in the wintertime. Okay, so stupid me, go and get some staples from a staple gun into the wrong side, and I don't figure that, or the wrong size, and I don't figure that out till I get home, till I want to use them a couple days later. So now I gotta go down and exchange them so I can finish my insulation job. I threw on a couple coats of paint and tarred the roof. Then I placed it on the old solar panel stand, added water and food bowls, and Gracie has a new house. Now she still comes to visit, but since she's been able to go outside whenever she wants, there has been no more urinating on the couch. I wonder if I could build a new couch.